Most High God, Lily of the Valley, Shekinah in glory. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord. You alone are Lord. Jehovah Jireh, Daddy, God of creation. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord. You alone are Lord. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord. You alone are Lord. The God of Paul and Silas, the God that give the blind sight, the God that grave the barren children. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord. You alone are Lord. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord. You alone are Lord. He God has scattered the powers of Egypt. He scattered the powers of marine in the river of Nile. The Oka Omewan. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord. You alone are Lord. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord, you are Lord. You are Lord. You alone are Lord. Yes, I'm Jesus. Inagalari ne mema. Inagalari ne mema. You are Lord, you are Lord.
Shalom, shalom. My name is PLM Ngoy. This is the Yahweh Global Revolution Movement, which I run with my husband, Apostle Hal Ngoy. And we bring you greetings from the throne of mercy of the Most High God. In this topic, I am dealing with the assignment of the end time army of the Almighty Father, Yahweh. And this is a continuation, the part 2 of qualification for the end time army. This is the part 2 of that message. I did the part 1 a while ago, and it will be of great importance for you to get the part 1 of this message. It has a lot of content in it that you will need to qualify in the army of the Lord. Because the army of the Lord is of great value to him in this hour, because a lot is being planned to do with this army. So this is a part 2 of qualifying for the army. In part 1, I rounded up part 1 of this message by talking about the book of Matthew 18 verse 3, having the heart of a child as one of the conditions to be in the army. The reason for that is, you see, a child hardly resists. A child has a very low resistance to many things. You can get a child to do a lot of things. A child is very receptive. A child relies on the parent. A child relies on the guidance. A child looks up to whoever that is being placed as a guardian over him or her. So that becomes their instructor. So in the army, the army of God, it is very unavoidably necessary and important that we should carry the heart of a child. Having the heart of a child will enable you to receive everything you ought to receive. Let me tell you that no matter how stingy a parent is, it is difficult to resist the demand of your child. It is only a child that can make a parent to go borrowing. Even when you say you're not in a position to bring out whatever it is, your child can make you to do that. In the part of world where I come from, many women sew their wrappers, their wares to meet their children's needs. It is only a child that can keep talking to a parent and you don't have the stamina to resist them. They know how to get to the heart of a parent. A child is not arrogant. He is not proud. A child can cry. No matter how hardened a parent is, you cannot ignore the crying of your child. There are some people who are not able to receive anything from the Lord because they are playing the role of adults even before God. They are no longer children before God. Even when they want to approach God, they approach God as a man or a woman. Men and women do not receive things from God. Only children receive things from their father. And God is not father to men or women. He is a father to his children. So that is why everybody will learn to have a child's attitude, especially when it has to do with God. There is no adult before God. Now, you must go and learn all the attributes, attitude of a child. It is a study that every army must go and take. That is why I say that the preparation that we are talking about in this end time has nothing to do with noise everywhere. The first stage of the preparation for what is going to come is self-preparation, self-equipment, and not noise everywhere. Have you built yourself to the capacity you want to be in the army? You want to, yes, Lord, use me, Lord, use me. First of all, there are things within you must deal with to qualify, to know you're prepared. You must deal with them to know that you're prepared. If you're unable to deal with them, how do you get prepared? A child does not, some people will tell you, well, I love God, but you love God, you forgive people, but there are people who have offended you and you have made some vows and some decisions in your heart, and you say you're forgiving. I am not saying that you should forgive and be careful, and be careless. There are some people, because of who they are, for instance, maybe somebody attempted severally to kill you. Are you still able to love the person the way you used to love them? That's what I'm talking about. But I'm not saying you should be careless that the person can come out the next day and begin to serve you food and you just collect and begin to eat. That's not what I'm saying. Are you able to forgive them Free your mind completely. Let me give you an example using myself. There was a time somebody very close to me, it was a complete betrayal. At the end of the day, I just made up my mind, well, if this person could do something like this, I will have nothing to do with him. I called him on the phone. I said, please. I also sent him a text message. In case he did not receive my text message, I said, I want to assume that I have never met you before. Let it be so. You have never met me before, and I've never met you before. I had that kind of mindset before, and I made up my mind. I'll just tell myself, I don't know who he is. And that was what I did. I took a day to walk in my heart and made a very solid stand that I don't know who he is. Even if I'm going to meet him in the midst of people, if they introduce him to me, I will see him like somebody I'm seeing the first time. Is that not a funny thing for somebody to do? But I could do that. I've done that severally, and I believe it was very good for me. When the wife saw what I wrote, the wife called me. Why will you write a thing like that? Why did you get to that point? You should have told me. I told the wife, I said, no. There is no need talking to you because I've made up my mind. I just want to assume that I don't know who you people are. Finish. And that was it. In 2018, I think this incident happened in 2014. I carried it like that until 2018. And to me, I was no longer angry with him. I have forgotten whatever he did. I have nothing. And also, I don't know him. But while I was praying one day, in 2018, that should be about 4 years later or 3.5 years later, I was praying. I was deep in praying, asking the Lord to reveal things to me, purge my heart, cleanse me. What did the Lord bring before me? The Lord mentioned the man's name and told me, do you really know you have not forgiven that man? I said, no, I forgave him. The Lord brought to me what real forgiveness is. I cried for this. Remember what the Bible talked about forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean the other person is right. Forgiveness means they are wrong. Even in their being wrong, you have no choice than to flush their wrong and take them the way they are. That is forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean this person may have done something very nice to you. No. What they did to you is wrong. God knows it is wrong. They themselves knows it is wrong. But for you, you must let go. That is forgiveness. Which is not an easy task. But we know according to the scriptures, by God, with God, everything is possible. It's just to ask for the grace, because there are a lot of offense in the world, especially today. Go and read the book of Matthew 24. It will tell that in this time, there will be so many offense. Some carelessly done, some out of mistake, some maybe the people were carried away and they did not watch their actions and they made a mistake. You have the duty not to crucify them, but to forgive them. And those you know that do not mean to harm you, maybe they made a mistake, you are under the obligation to even forget it. This message, you can forgive and not forget. Some say forgive and forget. Some say it is not easy to forgive and also forget. There are things you must forget. There are things, if you don't forget them, they will be a thorn in your flesh. You are the one suffering it. I said something in the part 1 of this message that just yesterday, while we're praying, I saw a thorn, one, plugged inside somebody's heart. I was like, Father, what is that? Is it a sickness? He said, no. Pain, injury, broken heart, things they believe that they can forgive, and it will take them 10 years to see if they can let go. It remains as a thorn. And the Lord showed me that once in a while, the enemy goes to touch the thorn, and when it moves around in that spirit, in that place, the person goes to remember. What I'm explaining here is very practical. The person goes back to remember, and he hurts again. There are things that people have done to us, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we're forgiving them. Why is it then maybe after like 2-3 years, you remember it, you begin to feel hurt again? That thing has not gone. So the Lord showed me the kind of baggages that the devil bring and put in us, and we find a word, a statement to justify it and keep it in our lives. And that thing is simply made to torment us. It will never do anybody good. Like somebody will tell you, well, you offend me, you ask for forgiveness, I have forgiven you, but I'm just very careful. It is good to be careful, but I'm telling you the implication that I saw yesterday with my eyes of many of the careful that we are. I have been in that shoes. I know what I'm talking about. I am trying to come out of it myself. The Lord showed it to me, means that I too should walk to remove such thorn out of my heart. And the truth here is that in many occasions, you will see that there are many reasons why you must remember the pain. There are many justifications to keep it. Who is getting hurt? You. Because every time the devil draws your attention back to it, remember he did this. Remember she did that. So please be careful. And we think that we are wise. The Lord showed to me yesterday. What was yesterday's date? I have forgotten. We're in the month of May 2020. I've forgotten yesterday's date. So you find out that we are getting hot because the thorn is being plugged in us, not in the person who offended us. We are the one carrying the thorns. And the devil knows when to touch it. I saw the way it was moving around. Whenever it moves around, the person remembers the hurt. They groan in the spirit. Out of pain. That is why you have to let go and let the wound heal. Some will tell you, well, it's a healing process where they need 10 years to heal. Who is suffering? You. The earlier you let the pain to go, the better for you. This thing is not easy, but when we go to God, you can see that our honesty before God can lift every pain and replace it with sweetness, that even the one who offended you, you begin to see reasons to forgive them. You begin to have compassion for them. You begin to love them. You begin to pray for them. That is what happens. This is a practical thing. When the Lord told me the man I was getting, I've never met him. Father told me, you didn't forgive him. But to me, I forgive him. But the only thing that I can never do anything with him again. In fact, we don't know each other. What kind of resolution is that? And who do you think you're deceiving? I cried for days. I told the Lord, it's fine. I've accepted. I repented and began to call the man's name to tell him I have forgiven him. And I said to myself, should I call him on the phone to tell him I've forgiven him? Something said no. When I go to Nigeria, I should go and look for him, sit one-on-one with him and discuss with him. When I went to Nigeria, I called him talk with him. When he realized I was the one, he was also excited. He was the one that began to ask me, where are you? Tell me where you are. Let me come there. I said, okay, right now I'm not in town. Where I am is very far from you, 5 hours drive. You cannot come, but I'm coming back. He said, please, we must see. I said, all right, sir, I'll come to see you. But before I came back, he has moved out of the town because he told me he's leaving the city, going back to another station to stay. So eventually we could not see, but we kept talking. Even right now, I can chat with him and we talk. I know that when I travel again, definitely we must see. I got to understand that. So this is an example. Did he it was not just an offense. He betrayed me. And I was very close to his family, both his children, everybody. They can be holding some family meeting. They invite me. So you can imagine a kind of a closeness that somebody can invite you even to his family meeting where the wife, children are there and they respect your opinion. But the human side of him led him to betray me because he wanted to make more money. At the end of the day, should I not forgive him? There are things I can do with him in as much as I've understood his weakness. But I should relate with him in love. Many of us have forgiven people, but the devil denied us loving them back. You are forgiving them, but you cannot love them anymore. And when you claim to love them, your love have limit. That is an error. So this cannot be achieved by muscles and self-effort. We need to make time. When you go to pray, don't pray as if you have arrived. Sometimes ask God to tell you the area you're still lacking so that you can work on it. I think in Psalm chapter 19, one of the verses, he said that, Father, reveal my secret fault to me. There are things you think you're doing well, but you're not actually doing well. Let God reveal. I am telling you what will make you to be an army. No army will carry blame, wrinkles. It will not work. You can be just a normal secular Christian doing the will of God, struggling with one thing or the other. But we are talking here about the qualification to become an army. So it's not something you just, okay, Father, Lord, accept me the way I am. There are other places you can be accepted the way you are. But to walk in the army is what I am stating here. You must not go before God like somebody who is right. You are not right. Tell Father, deal with me. This is my heart. Sometimes I go before the Father. I say, Father, nobody understands my stupidity more than you. You alone, Lord, understands how foolish I am, and you know actually I am foolish in many ways. Father, please deal with my foolishness. You cannot pray an honest prayers like that, and the Lord will not speak to you because you came to find out. But when you come with an attitude like, well, I am your child, you can even begin to report others who offended you to him. He will be looking at you and he's laughing because you don't know what you're saying. Just like, some children, they can come, you talk like that as a child. Father can look at you and laugh. When he sees your sincerity, your honesty, he can begin to talk to you. There was a time in 2009, I preached a powerful message in the church, very solid. And the topic was one thing you lack. I delivered that topic so well that I was so satisfied. The evidence of me saying it so well because the number of people that came out to give their life to Christ and those who came back for restitution. So I believe that it was properly delivered. I felt satisfied. When we got home, I ate and slept off. When I woke up around 5 p.m., I sat up on my bed, putting my feet on the floor. I was just there, enjoying myself, feeling good, thanking Father for the message. At a point, I said to sit on the floor, but I was just so satisfied, planning to go to the sitting room to join the children, so maybe to watch television and all that. Then who was coming in? Father came into the room and told me, daughter, that was a wonderful message today. I watched you preach. You delivered the message so well. I am so proud of you. I am so impressed. I was like, wow, Father, you really watched that? He said, yes, I listened to you. That message was well delivered. Even as I'm saying this, I could remember the way he was smiling, laughing, like somebody who was also satisfied, fulfilled. And you can imagine when your Father, your heavenly Father, you grew to the point he can not grew by his mercy. He can walk into where you are to speak to you. You know the joy, not like in a revelation or whatsoever. He walked in and I said to him, oh Father, you're here. He said, yes. I came to tell you that I saw the message you preached the other day. Do you know what he feels? That God is the one who is appreciating you. You feel like a little child in a chocolate store. I was feeling very good. Then he said, okay, but right now, let us talk. I said, all right, sir. He said, you preach in the church. One thing they lack. I said, yes. It's okay, let's talk about you. That is me. He said, you lack two things. I said, me. He said, yes. He said, you said to them in the church, they lack one thing. One thing you lack. Somebody can be good in every area. You look at a person so perfect, so wonderful, but this person cannot keep their mouth shut. And that thing they cannot afford to do is what is killing them. The other areas, they are 99% wonderful. But this other 1%, they have a problem with it. One thing you lack. There are some people, maybe because of the way they are raised, every time they like people pleading with them, but even in small things, the whole community will have to come and plead with them. And yet they will not accept. It is a weakness. There are some people, when you offend them, you tell them sorry, you apologize. That's another offense. One thing you lack. You may have reasons why you should not accept it. You may have reasons why you should be very vigilant, very critic in everything you're doing. You don't know that is your one thing you lack. You see what I'm saying? That is one thing the person lack. Father told me that I lack two. Just put yourself in my position. After being excited that my Father is happy, he has praised me, the next time I saw that I lack two things. The implication is that some of the people that I preach to in the church are even better than me. Some of them lack one thing, but I lack two things. And Father sat down. It's okay. Let's look at the two things you lack. He began to tell me. If he's not the one that told me, I wouldn't have accepted. Before I went to preach, I believed I was very good. And I was going to point out to people one thing they lack, they, not me. Only to discover that I was carrying two baggages, myself. And I was talking to people who have only one. So that is how it is in this work. For you to cope as an army, you must learn to go before the Father. Don't ever think you're correct. You see, this message right now, I'm recording this message. I just feel a bit excited because as I was talking, my eyes opened. I saw the Father standing, listening to what I'm saying right now. I am so excited. I just feel like throwing my record up, and so I just want to say, so this is a blessed day for me. The Lord standing, folding his hands and listening to me. Now, we have to go before him to understand who we are. So many of us don't know who we are. There are things we are carrying inside of us we don't know. That is why there was a time my husband was telling me that when somebody come up to you, you know this is a genuine child of God. Not somebody that who is coming to talk to you, maybe they just want to insult you or humiliate you. No. When somebody come up and say, this is what I observe about you, and they talk to you in a manner, what you have to do is to, okay, accept, I've heard you, go back to God in prayer. Don't start argument because you don't know if it is true. Other people may see you even the way you don't see yourself. You know that people can easily pick a fault you don't know you have from you. There was a man many years ago. When he's eating, I don't need to describe what he looked like. It is a sight you don't want to behold. I told him one day, I said, why do you eat like somebody who is taking bitter medicine? He said, how? I talked to him. I said, go and stand before a mirror, then eat. Do you mean your wife have never said this thing to you? He said, no. He went and stood before a mirror. He saw himself. He asked me, do you mean this is how I've been eating all this while? I said, that's how you've been eating, even in the public. He said he never knew about that. That he thought he eats normal. I said, no, you don't eat normal. Nobody will want to sit on the same table and eat with you and feel good, except if the person is pretending, and he is a politician and somebody who have a name, but he never knew he eats anyhow until he ran into somebody else I introduced to him. They went out to eat in a very big restaurant. The person called me on the phone and said, please, your friend that you introduced to me eats like an animal. Have you noticed that? I say, yes, we just spoke about it. Then he called the man outside, said, the way you eat can deprive you from any good political appointment. You see what I'm saying? So some people may observe things about you, and for your information, there are demons, like what I was saying, my husband was explaining to me. There are demons that are walking through, or things that people are carrying. That thing can never manifest until they meet a certain class of people. There are demons that can be comfortable operating within a man or a woman around a certain people, because those people are not prepared, or what they are carrying inside of them are not big enough to stir the demon to manifest. So the demon can be comfortable. And you see some people, why are you complaining about me? I have worked with apostle so person. He didn't say anything wrong about me. I work with a professor so person. I work with this general overseer, work with this minister of gospel, and they are very big people. They never said anything about me. All of them keep praising me. But you are the one who began to say things about me. Yes. There are demons that can be very quiet within people. And God will not even rush. Sometimes it baffles me. I say, Father, why will you see certain things about some people? You just keep away. You're not even talking to them. He said, his spirit being with them, they should be able to figure out. And all these things should come with your sincerity. Your honesty. Some people go to pray, they are not even honest in their prayers. They are telling God what they want God to hear. They are not telling God the truth. They still go before God. They try to cover up who they are. My friend, please go before God. Open, naked. Let him see you and address your issue. There are some of these small behaviors. We call it small, but they are just like a little thorn. They can destroy a great future That is what they represent. A thorn, little, very small, but they can put somebody on a sick bed. They can deprive somebody from particular positions in the army. Because if it takes 1 year to appease you, so when there's an offense, it can take 1 year to appease you. Within that 1 year, things can damage. In fact, people can die because we'll be waiting for you to get over an issue, and 1 year is gone. And people will be dying. And you will have enough reasons to take time to deal with that. Such a person cannot be on emergency unit of the army, because they may bring in a situation, we see that the person is knocked off, he's down, he's taking time to deal with an offense of last year. It is a weakness. Go before the Lord. Tell him to give you the heart that can qualify you for the assignment. What many of us are carrying in the name of heart can stand as a big limitation in this assignment. So that is why the condition is that for anybody to qualify, the person must be with the heart of a child. The major qualification, and not the one who can pray more. Children are known for obedience. They follow the instructions of their parents. You look at a child, ask a child a question. A child does not have their own opinion. The next thing you hear is, my mother said this, my father said this. What are you saying? They'll tell you no. What they are telling you is what their father and their mother says. That's the heart of a child. A child does not have the word of his own or her own. They will always convey to you what the parents are saying. And that's all. So for you to walk in the army, it must be about what is the Lord saying. What is the Lord doing? Not what I think, not what I believe. No. A child will always tell you. You can call a child, come and go for an errand for me. The question is, let me tell my mother first, or let me tell my father. Or no, my father or my mother says I should not leave the house. They will always refer you back to their parents. A child will always refer you in 99.5% of their statement back to their parents. When they need anything, they're going back to their parents. You see what I'm trying to talk about? So, we need to learn this. It is very important. I think to some extent, I've dealt with the issue of having a child's heart. It is very important in the army. So there are things we need to drop. When the Lord told me I have two things, he pointed them out to me. I never knew. But when I looked at it, exactly what I was doing, I knelt down and began to ask for mercy, for forgiveness. He told me, this, you have to drop it. That's so, you have two things you lack. I began to learn from that day. So learn to pray honest prayer before God. You cannot pretend before him. So this is one of the qualification to be in the army. Another one, I've talked about complete love for God in part 1, and that love is not loving God because of what he's bringing, but for who he is, unconditional. Then number 2, in this one, is dying to self. Dying to self. This dying to self is where many of us have become stranded. We are stranded. There is nothing we can do about it. Dying to self is not a day's job. It is a process. That is why God is processing the army. But in processing, you need to allow yourself to be processed because God cannot force anybody. There are many people, they are born again. In fact, tongue-speaking Christians, preachers and apostles, bishops, and all have you. But they are not dead yet. There was a topic, a message the Lord gave to me one time. After receiving the message, it had to start dealing with me first. And what was the message? You are too alive. You need to die. That was the topic of the message. It is also on my, I don't know if it's on the YouTube, but I will try to post it there. You are too alive. You need to die. Every army must die to self. Number one, in the army, there's nothing like competition. There's nothing like I want to be bigger than Mr. A, like what you see going on in today's church. Everybody, right now we have mega apostles and minor apostles. We have the mega apostles, we have the major apostles, we have the minor apostles, then the ordinary apostle. What a title. Now we have arch pastors, arch evangelists, arch bishops. Sorry to say, there was a day I asked the Lord about being a bishop because there was something he talked to me about the bishop. I was surprised when we finished dealing with that. I now asked him, what about the archbishop? What happened next after somebody becomes a bishop? You know, bishop is an office you gave for some specific reasons. He said yes. Number two, so after being a bishop, the next thing is to be an archbishop. The Lord began to ask me, what is an archbishop? He said, because for him, he doesn't know what an archbishop is. I said, what do you mean? I thought after being a bishop, the next thing is to become an archbishop. He told me he doesn't know what an archbishop is. Is that not frustrating for me? The Lord himself does not know, told me that he don't know what it is. That I should not ask him, he doesn't know the meaning. Oh God. Have you not seen where our people are rushing to? The Lord stood, said that, I don't know what an archbishop is. I only know about bishop, but for an archbishop, I don't know what it is. I felt sorry for ourselves and the kind of manipulation the devil done with us. And some people, when they hear me say this, God say, you can imagine how many millions of people who are asking archbishop all over the world. Then a small girl like me will come out and say that God does not permit an archbishop. Who am I? But the Lord said he doesn't know what an archbishop is. That is, by the way. Dying to self. All these titles you see, is because of lack of dying to self. The flesh is speaking. The flesh is still moving people to and fro. This topic of the flesh can consume a whole day. To deal with it thoroughly, for you to know how the flesh has eaten people up and is going to cause people to lose their place. So that is why the armies are being warned never to fall into such a trap. So in a summary, we have to die to self. So, but for right now, I am going to stop here. The next topic in this is the part 3 of this, which we are still talking about qualifying for the end time army. I'm going to bring the part 3 of this. In that part 3 of this, I will be able to explain what it means to die to self. What it means to die to self. It is a full package. So please search for the part 1 of this message. You are now, this is the part 2. Then also look for the part 3 of this message. It's going to be a series. May the Lord bless you. And I want to tell us that we have our messages on a YouTube, Revolution Messenger is where you get most of this end time army message, and the preparation hour of transformation is another page. Hour of transformation and Revolution Messenger. You get a lot of teachings for the end time, especially for the army, the preparation, the equipment, and the deployment. And again, on Facebook, you check for the message on Revolutionist PLM Goy, and you can contact me through that, and also on Hal Ngoy on Facebook profile. We have a school for the End Time Army online, and the name of the school, it is a closed group, the Last Army of Yeshua. We did it like that because it is not everything that will bring out into the open, except for those who are under training in the school. And after some time, we might also, for higher training, also have a place in our website where members can have a password to open and go into. Because when you understand the training of the army, everything is not being let out. There are some information which should remain just for the armies alone. So I will say, may the Lord bless you. Remember, this is a Yahweh Global Revolution movement, which I run with my husband, Apostle Hal Ngoy, and my name is PLM Ngoy. So may the Lord bless you. See you again in part 3 of this message, Qualification for the End Time Army.